Hello, I'm Ed Wolfe, Kitsap County Commissioner, District 3. Today I've got a special treat for you. Probably the first time in the history of the county where a commissioner will be riding with the sheriff out on the streets to see exactly what happens out on our street. It's going to be informational. You're going to see what they do, how proud we are of all of the enforcement personnel, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's do that now. Hello, Sheriff.
Morning, Commissioner.
Nice to see you, sir.
Why don't you hop on in and we'll head on back to the office.
Sounds good. Welcome, Sheriff Gary Simpson, to Kitsap County Commissioner's Corner, and we're on the road again, and we have with us Angie Silva, who's a Chief Policy Analyst with the Kitsap County Commissioners. This is a wonderful opportunity with this ride along to catch up with you, Sheriff, and talk about issues and talk about how we work together and the partnership that we have with the county, or I should say the commissioners have with the county. And it's a real pleasure, and thank you for allowing us to ride along today to see what's actually happening in our community. It's a partnership.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to have you ride along so we can see firsthand some of the things that deputies do on a regular basis. And it's always difficult to try to describe to other people who don't work in this profession to understand what we do and the complexities of those activities. So it's nice to be able to have you come along and actually see what we do firsthand.
Well, thank you, Sheriff. And I would just point out to the public at home that as county commissioner, we get all of the county commissioners, the three of us, get deeply involved in the funding and certainly parks and public works and roads and sewer, and working with the sheriff under our county charter. Many times we work with the sheriff to make sure we're funding properly, and we'll get to the funding issue later, to protect all of our citizens. As a private attorney for many years, I know how law enforcement plays such a critical role in not only protecting our community, but in the livability and the markability for our community. And I say that because we all see, at least the elected officials see, the changing demographics and the changing population in our Kitsap community.
Well, we're all part of county government. We have to work together to make it work and make our community safe. And things that are done by code enforcement, things that are done by law changes, the requests that Public Works may have for our assistance, we all have to work as a team to actually make it work for us, or we all fail. So it's nice to be able to have the teamwork and the understanding from the other departments as to what we do, and for us to understand what their mission and job functions are as well.
Absolutely, and we do it well together, I think. I certainly believe that. And I just want to highlight again, I may say this a couple of times during our morning together as we ride down the streets of, actually I think we're in Port Orchard, still in Port Orchard, ride down the streets of Port Orchard, that we need to continue working together. We need to find the right funding, the right resources for, certainly for our law enforcement, and make sure we do the best job we can. Let me transition to, if I could, to the thought of you've been here probably, I think, with the Sheriff's Office for 34 years. There's not much you haven't done during that period. I'm familiar. I met you when you were Chief of Patrol years ago. I think you've been involved. You were canine deputy also, I believe. Certainly Patrol and Marine. You've been involved with the Marine Division and the jail that I know of on a period of time. 34 years. Is that correct?
That's pretty.
Did I miss anything that I could tell you?
No, it's pretty accurate. You know, I think like many people, we start out as patrol deputies, and that's a fantastic job, fun job. And during that process, I was able to be a canine officer. But then I moved on to being a shift supervisor, which you'll hear from many supervisors and managers. That was probably their best job, best part of the job when they were earlier on in their careers.
I probably. I certainly should mention this. I think you used to ride a motorcycle too, didn't you? And you still have a motorcycle.
Well, I ride a motorcycle personally, but not for the office. I do that for the parades, just as part of our entourage as we go through parades. But not on a regular basis.
In fact, we have the Armed Services Parade coming up very soon.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've been to a parade where you haven't been riding a motorcycle.
You know, it's one of the fun things I get to do. Take some time and take a break and hang out with the guys doing the parades, and get to be out with the community. And
Okay. After 34 years, you've seen trends changing probably. You've seen the community changing, community meaning the county changing, not just Port Orchard. What are some of those trends that you see that are changing, and what are the resources needed to take care of those trend changes?
well, as population grows and communities develop, our agency needs to grow and develop in a similar ratio to make sure that we can meet the demands for service. And as technology changes, our challenges to address technology crimes and cyber crimes and things of that nature needs to be addressed as well. And it's an expensive venture to do that. And as cost of living and cost of doing business goes up, our costs go up, and it's not a cheap endeavor. And we need to find some way of having a sustainable funding source so that we're not always grappling on where are we going to spend our dollars, where are we going to invest in our communities through different aspects within the county government.
So just to reiterate, reemphasize what you said, during your 34-year period as a non-elected official and elected official for the past 4 years, cost of business has increased significantly. Is that an overstatement?
Well, yes. I think that we can look at any commodity that the costs are going up, and it's just getting more expensive to operate. And we have to recognize that and build that into our budgets and into our planning process, that we just can't continue to do what we're doing at the same rate that we have been over the years.
Mm-hmm. What are if you can tell me, the limitations on our existing revenue to support staff, to support training programs that I know you've referenced many times before, particularly the training programs and the staff needs?
Well, as the job becomes more and more complex and new laws come into play, we have to do more training, and we want to make sure that our officers and staff have all the training they can get to do the job the best they can. It's a high liability, high risk business, and we want to make sure that they have the skills and the experiences that are necessary to make sure that they go home at the end of the day and that the public is safe in their as they do their job.
24/7, 7 days a week.
365 days a year. Hey, hang on just a minute. We got a deputy with a traffic stop here. I want to stop by and make sure he's okay. CENTCOM Adam 1, I'll be out with 133 traffic stop at the golf course.
Sound good? Sheriff, that was exciting as an observer. What happened?
Well, that was actually a pretty typical traffic stop. I don't know exactly what the deputy saw that caused him to stop the car. It could have been a bad turn. It could have been sweeping in the road. Some of the things that he might observe on the road that would lead him to believe this driver was possibly intoxicated. I'm not sure exactly what the circumstances are, but we can talk to him. We'll get to the jail.
Okay.
We'll ask him some
All right.
questions as to
All
what he
right.
saw and why he went through some of the exercises he
Okay.
did. But as you saw, he wanted to make sure he was safe. He's not carrying any weapons. We want to make sure that the car is going to be taken care of as well. And he's got a family member that I heard was going to come and pick it up. So we're just going to give him to the jail and process him for DUI. At least that's what I'm assuming the deputy's going to do.
Okay.
We'll have to find out when we
Okay.
get there.
Make sure that he was safe and the deputy was safe.
Absolutely, and the surrounding community as well. And if there was anybody in the vehicle, we'd have to make sure that they were attended to as well. You know, when you deal with these DUIs, it's hard these days to tell what the cause is. It could be alcohol, it could be the impacts of marijuana or other drugs, and we're even getting to the point now where all of our officers are carrying Narcan, which counteracts the opioid effects on people. And we originally got into purchasing them and carrying them ourselves in the event that we were exposed, and make sure that the deputies were going to be able to be taken care of. But we found out that just this last year we applied Narcan 14 times
Wow.
to
Wow.
civilians
Wow.
to keep them from dying.
What resources and training does a deputy need specifically for the Narcan training? Because it's a serious issue in our county and other places.
Well, the training's not too extensive. It's pretty basic in understanding what the symptoms might be for an overdose, and then we talk about the application itself. And it's one of those that if it looks like it may be an overdose, just do it. It's not going to hurt the body. It's not going to hurt the person. If it's not an overdose by opioids, they can still do it. But it's not real extensive.
Were these drive-by like we just experienced, Narcan experiences with your deputies?
No, typically the Narcan would be something we would be dispatched to where there's a medical situation, not necessarily a DUI. If someone's overdosing that far with opioids or other drugs, they wouldn't be driving at all.
In a situation like that, would the fire district, one of the fire district's medical units show up also?
Well, they would show up, but oftentimes we're there before they are, and sometimes their protocols don't allow them to administer it without specialized training. So I'm not sure what exactly they would do.
So at this point, driving back to the jail, we don't really know what happened back there, and Deputy Langlow will explain to us what he saw happening and what he did, and we'll learn more when we get back to the jail.
Yeah, he can explain specifically what he saw, which is something he'll be writing up as his observations for the probable cause for the arrest. But I would be real certain that there was some type of other vehicle operation error by the driver that would allow him to actually make a legal traffic stop and continue his investigation at that point.
Okay, until we get back to the jail.
Till we get to the jail. I understand you were making some threats earlier to the officer. We're not going to do that here at the jail, okay? He's going to take him in now and process him for DUI with the BAC machine. And when he gets through with that and he gets done turning him over to the jail, then we can maybe have a conversation with him to answer those questions you were asking on the way up here.
So I'll wait out here.
Okay?
Deputy Langlow,
Commissioner.
thank you for everything you do every day and all of the people that you work with. We just witnessed a stop that you made in Port Orchard. What happened? What was going on? What did you find?
So as I was crossing paths with the vehicle, it was traveling about 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. I turned around and got behind it. When I was behind the vehicle, it crossed the center line twice, and in between crossing the center line twice, it veered to the fog line. Nice little weaving motion. So I activated my emergency light, stopping the vehicle.
And when you stopped the vehicle?
So I stopped the vehicle, I went up and contacted the driver at the driver's side window, and immediately was overcome with the smell of alcohol, odor of intoxicants. The driver had bloodshot water in his eyes. I asked him for his driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. He retrieved his wallet and started fumbling for his ID. He was having a hard time getting his ID out. So at that point in time, I suspected that he was under the influence.
And I saw you read him his rights. So we're in the booking unit here. You've already booked the individual. Tell the public, and welcome to Kitsap County Commissioner's Corner. Nice to have you here. Sorry under these circumstances. How many DUI arrests did you have last year yourself?
So last year I had 57
57,
DUI arrests,
yeah.
related arrests. Yes.
Yeah. And brought them here, brought them to Silverdale. Where did you bring them?
So I processed a majority of those at the Silverdale station.
Yeah.
We have the option to process them at Silverdale, the closest precinct, or here at the jail, and usually Silverdale's the closest.
Any issues with, not issues, but any experiences with Narcan? I was talking to the sheriff on the way over here to the jail about Narcan and some of the problems. Have you had any training in that area?
So I have been trained.
And what is Narcan?
So Narcan, it's an agent that's used to reverse the effects of an opioid overdose. Unfortunately, today we're seeing a lot more opioid overdoses. So thankfully, the sheriff's office provided us with Narcan in the event that we are exposed to opioids, whether it's fentanyl or anything like that. The plus side is if we come across somebody who's experiencing that, we can use that on them to help revive them and take them out of that overdose state.
So it is dangerous, it's speculation on my part, it is dangerous for an officer to administer the Narcan?
Well, there's always, if somebody's experiencing opioid overdose, we don't know if it's from...
Excuse me, Commissioner, can we head on to another situation here? We can come back. And
Sure.
I can't do this anymore!
Hey, Miss Campbell. Hey, Miss Campbell.
Take it out, use it.
I understand, guys. She's got a sharpened
I don't
spoon.
want to live anymore. I'm done.
No.
I did all this work to get my kids back, and now I'm stuck in this stupid cell.
You know, I understand. I really understand that this is a
Don't
tough
come in.
time. Okay.
If you come in, I'll use it. I swear.
I don't want you to use it. We really want you to be safe. Okay. We have mental health that wants to speak with you. Okay. We want to take you to a safer spot. Can you do that for us?
I don't want to. Just let me go home.
Hey, Campbell. I gotta let you know. Okay. I have other officers here. And especially because you have a sharpened spoon, that's something we take very seriously. We will use force to get that from you, but we don't want to. And I don't think you want to hurt us either. So will you take that and put it the other side of the room away from me, please? Okay. I need you to put the spoon down. Okay. Okay. Put your hands behind your back. Okay. We're going to place you in handcuffs.
Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I don't have anything. Don't hurt me. Don't. I'm cooperating. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please don't, guys. Please.
Lieutenant Sapp, my heart is still racing. I know who you are. Can you tell the public at home, who are you, what do you do here, and what just happened?
Yes, sure. My name is Lieutenant Penelope Sapp. I work with the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office Jail. I'm the support lieutenant. I've been working here for 16 years. And today what you saw was a female who was in crisis. She was threatening to hurt herself with a homemade, what we refer to as a shank. And she used one of our spoons that we provide to the inmates that are incarcerated here so they can eat. And she used a sock, and she obviously used the door jamb to make it a little bit pointy, and she was threatening to hurt herself with this. So our officers had some time to control the situation because she wasn't at the immediate moment hurting herself. She was just threatening to hurt herself. So they were able to suit up, and what you saw was the CERT gear so that it's padded so that they don't hurt themselves or get hurt in the process of trying to do a cell extraction. And then Officer Ferguson took the time to control the situation and try to talk her down to de-escalate, which he was successful in doing, and all they had to do was open the cell, restrain her, and now what's going to happen is they're going to take her to a crisis cell where some female corrections officers are going to change her out into a suicide prevention gown, and our mental health professionals are going to visit with her and see if we can get her some assistance.
My heart's still racing.
Yes, it's very intense.
What's the training? We saw all of the corrections officers in your team. What's the training for something like that?
Well, obviously, all the corrections officers that are hired here get extensive defensive tactics instruction so that they can keep it to a minimal the amount of force they need to use. On top of that, we teach our staff cell extraction, and that is when they dress up in the paddock.
All of the staff?
Yes, all of the staff are trained in that. And then, additionally to the CERT team, which is what we refer to as the cell extraction team, we're trying to get all of our corrections officers through the 40-hour CIT class that is provided through the county, so that they can learn the de-escalation techniques for the mentally ill and the behavior health, not just mentally ill, but behavior health. Because the jail in itself is the largest mental health facility in this county, and our correction staff need to learn those skills.
Would you repeat that again? The jail is the largest?
Is the largest mental health facility in this county. Actually, every jail is the largest mental health facility in every county or city it's placed in. So
this is not something that's abnormal. It would happen frequently?
It does happen frequently.
Is Corrections Department recruiting now, and or the Sheriff's Department?
Absolutely, we have openings right now, and I would encourage anybody that wants to work in law enforcement, whether it be as a patrol deputy or a corrections officer, go online and check out our website and see how you can apply, because this is a great opportunity to make a positive change in your community.
Again, I'll say it again, this has been some experience today. Thank you for what you do and for what your whole team does and the whole Sheriff's Office.
And thank you.
We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I want to thank the Sheriff and the ride-along today, and my eyes have been opened widely today with regard to what they do, how they do it, how dedicated they are, how passionate, and how more resources are needed to continue protecting our entire population in Kitsap County. So thank you again for joining me for Kitsap County Commissioner's Corner today. It's been an eye-opener. Thank you.